It was around midnight when Sarah got up for a glass of water. But as she stepped into the hallway, she froze. Something was standing at the other end. Sarah lives alone in a small two-bedroom apartment. That night, the power had flickered early due to a storm. She lit a candle in the kitchen before heading to bed. Hours later, she woke up thirsty, the apartment silent to silent. She opened her bedroom door and glanced down the hallway. In the flickering candlelight, she saw it. At the far end of the hall stood a tall, thin shadow, not moving, but watching. Her heart pounded, and she blinked, but the shadow didn't move. A prickle of fear ran down her spine. What was that? A late-night visitor? An intruder? She whispered. Who's there? But her voice came out a shaky whisper. No answer, just the sound of footsteps. Slow, deliberate, coming closer. Sarah rushed back into her room and slammed the door shut. The footsteps stopped right outside. Then she heard 3 slow knocks and a whisper right next to the wood. You left the candle burning. A chill went down her spine. She knew that candle wasn't blown out by the wind. Someone or something had come into her apartment and taken it. But how? The front door was locked. Had to be. She distinctly remembered checking it twice that evening. And besides, whoever or whatever was out there didn't seem to use the door. It just glided through the walls. As if sensing her fear, the thing outside pressed its face against the door, its wet nose nudging the wood. Sarah screamed, scrambling back from the door. She needed to get out, get help, call the police. But her legs felt like lead. She couldn't move. Suddenly, the doorknob began to turn. Slowly at first, then faster and faster, until the door swung open. Breathlessly, Sarah stared at the intruder. It was a dog, a big, wet dog with floppy ears and a long, pink tongue. He looked at her with innocent brown eyes, tail wagging tentatively. Relief washed over Sarah, followed by annoyance. It was just a dog, an annoying, unwelcome dog who had somehow snuck into her apartment and stolen her candle. She crossed the room, picked up the dog, and carried him to the door. As she opened it to let him out, she noticed his collar. It was engraved with the letter B and what looked like an address. She walked out into the hallway with the dog, intending to leave him there and go back to bed. But when she turned to go, she saw something strange. The hallway was filled with flickering candlelight. Every apartment door along the way was slightly ajar, and from each one she could hear the soft glow of a candle flame. For a moment she stood mesmerized, wondering if she should investigate. Then the dog whined, licking her hand. She couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched, but maybe it was just her imagination. As she descended the stairs with the dog, she realized she didn't want any unwanted visitors in her apartment ever again. She reached into her pocket for her keys, unlocking her front door. The dog barked happily, trotting ahead of her. Sarah stepped inside, closing the door behind her. She was about to turn off the lights when she noticed something on the floor, a single wet footprint. She bent down to examine it. It was far too large to be the dog's. Whoever or whatever had been in her apartment had left this behind. And then Sarah noticed something else. The print wasn't on the rug. It was on the hardwood floor, beneath the candle. A sudden chill ran down her spine. She hadn't seen this before. What had happened here? Who was that? When Sarah opened her door in the morning, the candle was gone. The dog had disappeared. All that remained was the lingering smell of wet dog and the single wet footprint on the hallway floor, from a foot far too large to be hers.